What's going on, Ghost Squad? Trey here with Ghost Tactical for the Ghost Tactical Training Series. Today, we're going to discuss shooting from behind cover. Now, if you're ever in that worst case scenario where you actually are in a self-defense firefight, what's the first thing that we're going to do? We're going to try to find the nearest cover. The question is once we've found cover, what do we do to maximize our efficiency and to make it to where we get to go home that night? So we're going to talk today about shooting from behind cover, the different principles and the reasons why we do certain things. So let's get going. All right, so we're out here at the range with our good friend Lance with Get Off the X, and what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what we do when we're behind cover. Now, we're going to utilize this as a wall. It's going to be a concrete wall that you're going to find for cover, and we have a target out here that's going to basically be our assailant. And we're going to talk about where to stand, how to get there, and why we do certain things. You can be the most proficient marksman out there. You can go to the range 2 or 3 times a week and you can really tear up some paper, but when your adrenaline is pumping, your breathing is accelerated, and you've got the scenario and the stress of a firefight, the main thing you got to do is survive. And we do certain things from behind cover to be able to survive. So we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. So right now, this is the most common mistake that most people are going to have when they find cover. They're going to go find the nearest cover, and they're going to get as close to that cover as possible to try to find the enemy. The problem is they're way too close, and here's why. For a couple different reasons. If you're this close and you try to extend out, now you're going to have to lean out with your head probably to get away from this barrier. Now you're giving your enemy more target to shoot at. Okay, so you don't want to give them any amount of body that you can. You want to minimize what you show to your enemy for them to engage with you. Also, when you have a problem, when you lean out here, not only are you showing way too much of yourself, but your field of view is minimized as well, because now you have a barrier here that you have to literally look around to find where you're going. Okay? And the third part of the problem with this right here is if you're here and they're engaging with you, and this is a brick wall, let's say, but let's say they're hitting right here on the wall, you're going to have fragments of that concrete or brick splattering out. If you're right up close, it could get onto you, could stick you, get in your eyes, could get into your mouth. A lot of different problems could have with just from them shooting into this wall. Fragments are going to get out there and they could hurt you without even touching you with a bullet. So what we're going to do is what we try to do is behind cover is we want to stand at least an arm's foot away. Okay, so when we extend out here, we want to be at least, that far away, if not more. I try to go about 2 arms length away. The farther back, the better. You can't be too far back. Okay, but we'll say a big step or 2 arms lengths away from your barrier. So now that Lance is engaged from behind the barrier here, you can see right now he is showing very little, if anything, from this view of his body. Basically, the only thing you can do is see the muzzle of his gun. That is protecting him behind the cover. That is why we seek cover, is to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position not to be harmed while we engage the enemy. Okay? Now, we also are in a position where if the rounds do come in from the enemy and they splatter, he's far enough away that it's not going to hurt him. Most importantly, from being this far away, he has a much wider field of view. Okay, at this point, he sees a lot more of the land. He sees a lot more. If there's more than one person, he'll be able to see where they're moving. So those are my points of view. I want to kind of bring Lance in here, let him talk about why he likes being farther back as well, because he's got some good points that you guys are going to want to learn as well.
Like Trey was saying, your field of view is cut down tremendously the closer you are to the cover that you're going behind. So if you take them steps back, you have a lot more cover in front of you versus if you're up close.
The next thing that we're going to talk about is really changing your altitude when you come out from behind cover to engage the enemy. And people might think that this sounds stupid and doesn't mean much, but it does. There's 2 parts of this. One is make sure that every time you engage a target, you're not shooting the same amount of rounds. If you come out, don't shoot 2 and then go back to cover every time. Shoot 1, shoot 3, shoot 2, shoot 1, shoot 3, whatever it is, mix it up. And every time that you come back out, I want you to change the altitude of your head, which means if you come out, and Lance is going to show you right here, if you come out high, take 1 shot, come back to cover, Now he's going to go a bit lower. He's going to take 3 shots. Come back up. You might go back high and take 2 shots. Stuff like that. Change your altitude and change the rhythm of how many shots you take. And the last thing we want to talk about before we start doing some displays here is really about mag changes. Now, some people are going to carry extra magazines when they're walking around in everyday life. If you do, and you happen to be in a firefight where God only hopes that you don't have to, but if you are in one of those that you have to change your mags, make sure that you have at least a decent count of how many rounds. Okay, that being said, is if you have a 15 round mag and you're getting about 10 or 12, you might want to have a chance to go ahead and change the mags before you run out. You can drop that mag or put it in your pocket, reload, continue the fight, knowing that if you had to go back, you might have a few left in that first mag. Okay, so, but when we do change the magazine in our handgun, we always want to change the mag from behind cover. The only thing you ever want to do in a firefight is stand still. You never want to stand still, especially out in the open. If you're standing still in the open, you're giving the whole advantage to the enemy. So what we're going to do right now is Lance is going to simulate taking some shots. He knows he's getting close to the round counts. He's going to come back behind cover, do a quick mag change, come back out at a different height here. So here we go. So he is going to take his shots. He is going to reload, come back out at a different angle, and there you have it. That right there was perfect because not only is he putting himself in a safe position to change that mag, but when he re-engages, he's at a different height as well. So now we're going to throw our eyes and ears on, and we're going to let Lance kind of show us some of these drills real quick. Okay guys, well I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you gained a little bit of knowledge as to what's the first step after finding cover in a firefight. A lot of this is going to be dependent upon how many enemies there are, how many assailants there are, what kind of cover you have. We're going to plan on doing some stuff with some vehicles from inside, maybe a house or something like that, to give you everything you can do about personal defense, self-defense, shooting, that if you can really master some of these skills, then you're going to put yourself in a position to succeed, to live, and be able to go home and enjoy the rest of your life. The amazing thing about training is this. You can go to 10 different trainers, 100 different trainers, and the basics of the mechanics are going to be the same. The grip, how to shoot, basically how to hold and handle a gun. But when you start talking about the mechanics of survival in a self-defense shoot, that's when the different instructors really kind of separate themselves from the rest. I'm not saying you can't go find an instructor in your hometown that's going to give you a couple hours for $50 or $100 of some really good information and training. But if you're really serious about carrying every day and putting yourself in a position to succeed in a self-defense shoot, I encourage everyone to try to go and find some really high quality instructors. You've got many of them in this country that are amazing. You've got the Rob Pincuses, you've got James Yeager, you've got, Clint Smith, you've got 100 of them in America that are world renowned that you really can't go wrong with. So try to find someone that's going to have a personality that you like, and it's going to be able to give you the information and give you the tools to survive. Once again, thanks to my buddy Lance with Off the X here. Go check him out on Instagram, on YouTube, and all that. He does some great stuff. We practice a lot together. We shoot quite a bit, and he's got some good stuff going. So go check Lance out. Thanks for coming on, brother. And let's really try to get out there, guys. Be more proficient. More importantly, guys, always try to learn more. If you think that you've learned all that you can learn, then you're putting yourself in a position to be killed. You're always needing to learn more, gain more knowledge, practice all you can, get out to that range at least once a week, be more proficient with your firearms. And when you're out there shooting, don't just shoot at paper with no reason. Have a reason for practicing. Practice some of these skills, and maybe you'll survive. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Semper Fi.
Stay tuned.